Hey guys, welcome back to our channel once again. This is Jasur and Rishi from Bali, Ubud. We are in this villa that we are renting. We stayed here for one night now, and yesterday we visited an e-commerce event here. That's the purpose, one of the purposes why we came here. So the topic of this video, as you can see here, e-commerce business comparing Indonesia to China. There are some advantages in both markets and disadvantages, and also we would like to mention a couple of things and information that we heard from the founders in yesterday's event in Bali. So Rishi, if you can start, then continue.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Jasur, for the video. So, guys, yesterday's event we attended, it was an e-commerce event with respect to food and beverage industry, and we spoke to four founders of four locally formed businesses. Two in relation to chocolates. Now these are basically organic chocolates and locally sourced chocolates. And then two of the businesses were by foreigners. One of them was a Malaysian national and the other one was a South African national who has lived in multiple regions across the globe. One of the business was a beer business, the other business was a whiskey business, and then two of the traditional whiskey, Indonesian whiskey, and then two of them were chocolate businesses. One of the chocolate businesses, the founder is from the UK, and he started off just by selling maybe 1 kilogram of chocolate, and then suddenly the business grew organically, again without the help of social media or such, lots of contacts, just organically started off by selling 1 kilo, then 20 kilos and 50, and now they're exporting to the UK, Australia, Austria, even New Zealand. So those are the businesses. There's plenty of opportunities here in Indonesia to do businesses. However, there are certain barriers. When I say barriers, they're not necessarily just barriers to entry to do business. However, there are certain hurdles that one has to face, like any other business anywhere in the globe. They have to face to form a company here in Indonesia, but more so that also doing the business. One common similarity just among the businesses between China and Indonesia when it comes to food and beverage, when it comes to this kind of industry and especially e-commerce, that China, just like China and Indonesia, you have to have a local partner. When I say you have to have a local partner, not just from a technical or legal standpoint of view, but more so from a point of view that they assist you in many ways, having more connections, exactly.
Making your business more successful. In terms of that, yeah, definitely you need to work with local person. This is what the four founders yesterday
mentioned. So that is something that is key. So when you're doing businesses here,
because the tradition, the culture, business ethics, and everything is different.
Exactly.
Probably wherever you're from.
And one more thing, which also applies in China as well. I lived in China 4 years. He lived in China 11 years. You cannot copy a paste approach from European or the US market. So just that for the fact that you land off the plane, you come to Indonesia, you decide I'm going to apply the American or the British mindset or European mindset, it won't work here. You have to localize. And funnily enough, when it comes to localization, I'm going to mention that. So today I just read in the news, Burger King and McDonald's and Domino's in India, in the Hindu dominated religious cities where we have the pilgrimage, they have stopped offering onion, garlic.
Why is that?
And meat. So there's certain Hindus who basically don't eat onions and garlic in their food. So the menu is completely overhauled. Stopped offering onion, garlic, and then meat products from all. So even if you, for example, you eat meat, you go there, you won't be able to get meat.
Of course.
So when it comes to food and beverage, you have to be very specific. It's with a fine-tooth comb. You have to be very intricate with the details in any market. And just to not hurt the sentiments of the local people, because everybody has a different palate, everybody has a different taste. So for example, like chocolates, beer for example, Europe is more into craft beer, whereas in Indonesia they're not so much. The Indonesians I'm talking about are not so much in craft beer. So let's say you're selling beer in Ireland or UK, and then you decide, okay, I want to go and sell beer in Indonesia, craft beer. They won't buy it, they won't drink it, the locals won't, for sure.
Yeah, the reason why this beer founder, I mean, the company which produces beer, the founder of it is actually from South Africa. He lived in all over the place, like New Zealand and the US, and he's got definitely experience. But one thing he mentioned is craft beer culture in Indonesia is very minimal. Like it means that there is a educating the market element there.
Yes.
So you need to spend a lot of time
And a lot of money as
talking,
well.
yeah, a lot of money as well. You need to talk to people, like introduce your beer. That you have to present it so well that they start buying it. Otherwise, there's this widespread culture here in terms of alcohol in most of the Eastern Asian countries, which is you drink to become drunk.
Yes.
Right? That's like
Exactly.
in China as well. In Japan, you see like they drink sake and stuff like that, not for the taste, so much. Like Rishi mentioned, in European some of the Western countries, there are people who only drink for the taste, not to
Exactly.
get really like drunk.
And also, like, Europeans, even when they're going on a holiday, the holiday for British people starts at the airport. Every time I fly from Stansted Airport, 10 in the morning, you'll have a fine British gentleman drinking a beer. And then that's just the culture, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
They're going on a holiday, they want to chillax, they want to relax, so that's the way to do it, which makes sense. But however, in Indonesia and in China as well, in China, baijiu, for example,
Yeah.
baijiu is a drink
White.
designed
Yeah.
designed to get drunk.
Yeah, of course. It's
It-
like the alcohol volume is so high.
Exactly.
And
Like
baijiu is
60-70%.
basically the Chinese version of your whiskey,
Exactly.
or liquor or gin, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
like a
pure
combination
white.
of,
Combination. It tastes so different.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe there are similarities between Japanese sake and Chinese baijiu
Exactly.
in terms of taste, but meaning it's very different from whiskey or anything you have in the West. But
So going back to the
Yeah.
point of the event yesterday, few things that the founders didn't touch upon in terms of the food and beverage industry here, more so the localization aspect. To do business in any country, and of course Indonesia as well, yes, you got to know the local market, local taste, but also understand the legal hurdles as well that will come along your way. Of course, we will assist you with all the incorporation process, setting up the businesses, but in terms of putting in the effort, for example, Indonesia has a population of 260 million people. There's no point, like, to come to Indonesia and then you think of exporting. Yes, China is an export economy, manufacturing economy. It has been since I've been seeing China. However, for example, Indonesia, local population is 260 million people. The home market is so big enough, you don't necessarily have to export to grow your business. That's one of the points. Also, in terms of food and beverage, there's certain licenses which are to be had. For example, in the US, the FDA approval. However, in Asia, there are certain nitty-gritty details which can be bypassed if you know the right people. And again, I'm not saying do anything illegal. However, Asia is still Asia, so China maybe not so much. However, Indonesia, if you happen to know the right people, you will be able to pass along those hurdles with ease. And to get those right connections, you have to be able to go out, meet people, but make sure you have a local partner. I do business here. I've got the real estate license, I've got the financial management license. I have local partners. Without local partners, my business would not be succeeding here in Indonesia.
Right. Yeah, okay. I also want to mention a few things about these legal aspects and compare them to China. Based on the information that I obtained, obviously through online search and also meeting these founders yesterday in yesterday's e-commerce event. In Indonesia, apparently there is this also Rishi also touched this topic. Like there is a paid-up capital requirement when you register a company, a limited liability company, which is PMA.
Yes.
But this registered capital, like he mentioned, for example, if you work with a local agency,
Yes.
they can sort of, provide that registered capital for you using their own funds in case you don't have your own funds.
Yes.
Meaning that if you have, like, let's say $10,000 might not be enough because the minimum registered capital here is 10 billion Indonesian rupiah.
So there's two different
Yeah.
types of companies, PT-PMA and PT-PMNA. So with the PT-PMA, you need minimum of 10 billion rupiah, which is roughly about $700,000, give or take. And then with the other companies, if it's a small, medium, large enterprise, so it depends between 1 billion up to 10 billion.
Right. So it differs from
Differs from the industry and differs from the what kind of business you're doing.
Alright.
However, this just like China, there are certain industries, certain businesses here in Indonesia, like tobacco, for example, or certain licenses which are tough to get. Like for example, chemical license is tough to get in China because the government here wants to protect the local business people, local market, which makes sense. You know, protectionism has to exist in Asia, otherwise they wouldn't be able to survive. Indonesia is still a relatively a third world country, so they have to protect their own people interests first.
Of course.
Paid up capital, and then with the paid up capital, just so that you have mentioned the paid up capital point, I'm also going to mention, yes, if you partner with a local person, they will help you with providing the paid up capital. You just have to keep the money in the account. You don't necessarily have to spend the money. However, you just have to keep it in the account for a short period of time. Start doing your business, start conducting your business, day-to-day activities. Then they pull out those funds. Then you're left with 100% foreign ownership in the company. It's your say, and do whatever you want.
So this is very interesting point actually. In China or any other countries that my company serves in to help our clients to register company in. So basically, withdrawing the capital is very hard. Actually, for example, in China, first of all, there's no paid up capital, meaning that you can start a company with literally zero capital. And you can also sponsor your work visa using that zero capital company. Because it's in the law. Okay, China back in 2016 they abolished this paid up capital, and since then you don't have to inject any capital, but it's an option. If you want to inject the capital, then withdrawing the capital just like that, it's illegal. You cannot do that.
No.
It becomes the company's asset. So you can only spend for company's expenses, maybe your salary, buying some products, etc.
Company's expenses, basically.
So this is very interesting part, like maybe difference. Many people in yesterday's event, also you all mentioned here, you can withdraw that injected capital without any problems. They said, And this is one thing. Another thing I want to mention is a lot of guys mentioned in yesterday's event, like food and beverage. These industries require a local partner. Tobacco, alcohol, food and beverage, meaning that however percentage you decide between your local partner, between you and your local partner, but there has to be a legal partner in the company, right? So they have to have certain shares in the company. But the difference in China is in these industries you don't have to have a local partner. For example, my company in Shanghai, we have import and export food and beverage license, and we can also apply for alcohol license if we want, and having a local partner is not required. Meaning in the company structure, of course I do have Chinese partner in terms of relationships,
of course,
right?
That's Guangxi. At the end of the day in China you have to have local partners to work with to do any business, be it factory owners, be it partners with respect to the food and beverage industry, whatever. However, in Indonesia, there is a legal requirement to have a local partner. That's why it's very important to have a trustworthy local partner. You'll find lots of people, but to have a trustworthy local partner who won't cheat you. And also sometimes when, as a foreigner, if you don't have a local partner and then you want to start up a company, you have to have a lot of capital, paid up capital. If you're partnering with a local person, then you don't need that paid up capital, but then the trust element comes in. So you have to have the perfect balance. Now, if you have $1 million, let's say, dollars, and you want to come to Indonesia, fine. Come here, start your company, do your business, no issues whatsoever, 100% foreign ownership. You don't need to have a local partner. But then when you start going about, conducting your daily day-to-day activities without a local partner, where are you going to get the cheapest raw materials? Like good quality
sourcing is also challenging because obviously, like outside the city areas or the centers of towns here, local people in the outskirts probably won't be able to speak English.
Of course,
it will be a big challenge. So either you come with the Indonesian Bahasa language, skills or experience, or you partner with a local person or hire some assistants. But I think this is a natural thing, like obvious thing, even in China. I mean, China in most of the big cities, tier 1 cities they call, local people speak English to some extent, but when it comes to sourcing, I've seen many, for example, sourcing companies which cannot speak decent English. So it's better to for negotiation purposes, for bargaining purposes, or signing agreements, you need to still have a local partner.
But that's,
so
I
to
guess,
speak.
everywhere. And one benefit here in Indonesia is that Indonesians, in terms of percentage-wise, there are more English speakers in Indonesia
Right.
than in
Yeah,
China.
yeah, definitely.
So even in
Definitely.
Indonesia, the
Definitely.
schools also teach English. However, in China, they don't. Like, I'm talking about the local schools in China, even in major cities. Here
They
in
actually,
hotels, you've been
uh,
noticing we've been going around Bali. Like, we've been in Canggu, we've stayed in
yeah,
Seminyak, we've stayed in Kuta, we're now here in Ubud. 4 different regions across Bali.
yeah,
All the villas that we've rented, the people who are renting the villas to us, they're speaking perfectly good English.
yeah.
Where we're going for dinners, lunches, restaurants, people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
speaking
Almost
perfect,
everyone
yeah,
speaks English. Yes.
English, yeah, which
Uh,
is good. Whereas, however, in
yeah,
China, you have to pick your food from the menu, from the picture, and you
yeah,
just pay. Like, there's hardly any communication. So that's one of the benefits of doing business in Indonesia.
yeah.
A major benefit, I would say.
Okay. All right. I want to also mention about e-commerce differences. In China, for example, like Rishi mentioned, I lived there for 11 years almost now, and I recently left, for business purposes. So based in Bali right now. So in China, my company, for example, obtained, Taobao seller account without any issues. We also have AliExpress selling account for some of our clients without any issues. And also, if you want to apply for selling account on any e-commerce platform in China, the barrier or legal barriers that are literally non-existent. I
No.
mean, you can have your e-commerce, not e-commerce. You can have your limited liability company license, which is WFOE, which is called,
Yeah.
and all you need in order to apply for these selling accounts in e-commerce platforms, all you need is e-commerce should be mentioned on your license as a
Yes.
business scope. This is enough. Like with that license, you can apply and get that approval, and you can start selling. While in Indonesia, all these founders they mentioned that in order to actually obtain a selling license on, for example, Tokopedia or Shopee, uh, first you need to get special license, extra license. That's not the general license of your company. And two is you need to have an offline store somewhere. And he said that specifically this beer guy he was selling said that you need to have offline store which has certain size requirements.
Yes.
It doesn't matter anywhere, as long as you have this brick and mortar store, and based on that
Minimum
store,
size
and then
requirements.
and also this extra license, you can then apply for selling account on Tokopedia or some of the other e-commerce selling platforms. I see it as, honestly speaking, I see it as kind of a barrier, but of course, in any country there are ups and downs. So it's perfectly, it's fine. You can overcome it if you really, want to do
Interested in
business
business?
here.
Yes,
Of course,
yes, of course.
you just have to be prepared for this kind of,
Exactly.
yeah, challenges. But apart from that, all these, food and beverage businesses that we met yesterday, they are focusing on social media because they specifically mentioned that social media and also celebrities and influencers, they play a huge role in this industry, at least if like some celebrity like uses that product or advertises on their account on social media, Instagram
Now that you
especially.
mentioned that, I'm going to mention I've been
Yeah.
here 2 years. I was here a year and a half ago. I've been coming to Indonesia for the last 4 years, 5 years. And one thing that you mentioned, again, smoking is injurious to health. I am not promoting that. Even a lot of major cigarette brands here, Jasur,
Right.
use celebrities to endorse their
Oh, okay.
tobacco products. So when you
All right.
and one more thing, the guys didn't mention that they went yesterday, which I will share from my own experience. People always focus on the major cities. However, Jakarta and Surabaya, Jakarta is the financial capital, the capital of the country, and Surabaya is the second largest city in the country. So just because you're in Bali, you have your visa, you're doing your business, you have your company, why not focus on the other cities? Just I don't live in Bali. For me, it's too
Right.
chaotic. For me, it's too congested. Plus, it's too much of a touristy city. I'm not able to get the work done the way I want to. My company is registered in Jakarta. I love living in Surabaya because it's balance of both. And every time I want to go to Jakarta, it's an hour's flight.
Right.
And I'm focusing on those markets as well. Okay, as a finance company, I have to focus on Jakarta. Of course, it's a financial center. But obviously, I'm also getting clients from everywhere. So come to Indonesia to do business, with an open and broader mind.
Of
Don't just
course.
come to Bali and like, I just want the sun, sand, and sea. Yes, of course, sun, sand, and sea. This perfect, amazing view, the villa that you're renting, you know, brilliant, like lots of places to eat and whatever, so on and so forth. But Jakarta is the place to be. As I speak about that, tonight I'm flying back to Surabaya. I'm gonna fly to Jakarta in the next couple of days, then flying to Singapore. It is the way to do business. If you're in Southeast Asia, you have to have a broader mind. I cannot just stay here for the sun, sand, and sea.
Yeah, of
So
course.
focus on those other markets as well.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Indonesia, compared to China, has a massive population as well. Of course, you know, Chinese economy, Chinese business atmosphere, it's based on production and then import, export, heavily on export as well.
Yes.
But I think in both markets, well, we are comparing these two countries. In both markets, you see the similarity when, you know, both countries are kind of self-sustaining.
Yes.
If you run a business, for example, you don't have to really export if you do business in Indonesia,
No,
because
not at all.
massive population is actually a big market for you. Because in yesterday's event, we've seen that, you know, all these founders keep talking about, I mean,
260.
260 million people. Like, it's more than enough. You know, there are so many restaurants, so
That's
many
half
bars.
of Europe,
Yeah,
basically. In a way, that's half of Europe.
exactly.
All of Europe
Yeah,
combined.
exactly. To
And-
succeed in the business,
Exactly.
right? Well, after that, of course, you can explore some export opportunities. In China, the same thing exists. This is where for example, I come from with, you know, extensive experience. Like Shanghai alone, it's a very strong market.
Yes.
It's almost like 30 million people.
Yes.
And the purchasing power of the market in Shanghai is quite high as
So
well.
purchasing power
Yeah.
index, you know, China is number one
Yeah.
and Shanghai is number one in the world for sure. But
Especially
Indonesia
on
is number
food and
four.
beverage,
For
things as
sure,
well.
like
Yeah.
that's Southeast Asia, you know. But what I was trying to say is, in terms of the market, domestic market is good, but don't just focus on one particular city. Focus on
Of
the
course,
country
of
as a
course,
whole.
of
Focus on
course.
other. Okay, Kalimantan and you know the particular regions, Borneo, for example. They're difficult. There are barriers, difficult markets. The local people wouldn't let you in for sure. But Surabaya, Jakarta, and Bali, of course, these are the cities. And there's one more city called Medan. Medan has one of the best seafood. I don't eat. I've been told by people I don't eat seafood. I've been told. So whenever you get a chance, fly down to Medan.
Definitely.
Medan has one of the best seafoods in the country.
All right.
So there are lots of markets. But yes, come to Bali, open up a company. We'll assist you. Do your business here. But then we would also would like and assist you in terms of expanding to the other regional markets in the country.
Yeah, this is it for today, guys. Before this video gets too long, I just want to once again emphasize that my company in the US focuses on corporate legal consultancy. We assist with company formation, company structuring, offshore accounts, lowering the taxes based on your citizenship. We basically recommend good jurisdictions based on your business and your specific circumstance. And we also have a company in China which focuses on Chinese market, including company formation, obtaining special licenses, etc. And Rishi's company, you can introduce.
So my company, we've got an office and a company in the UK, in London, that focuses on the financial and the legal aspect of things, but mostly towards finance and fintech. My Indonesian company focuses on the real estate, just like the UK company. For tax purposes, I've got a company in the UK and Indonesia. My Southeast Asia regions is handled by the Indonesian company, and then my business EMEA is handled by the UK company. Most in Indonesia, mostly focus on fintech and corporate structures for companies and startups. I also assist them in terms of securing funding and expanding the companies. At the event yesterday, the 4 companies we met, 2 of the companies, I'll speak to them. I have spoken to them, and they're interested in utilizing my services to expand to the British market and the European market as a whole.
Once again, so thank you for watching. Stay tuned. If you have any questions regarding our services, or you need our assistance in anything that we mentioned here, feel free to contact us. You can see the contact details down below in the description.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching.